Okay. Fun shout outs to start out with. Swim team, anybody from the swim team? Fabulous job, swimmers, this year. We had several swimmers go do very well at state. Our relay teams set personal records. It was a great job, so hands up for the swim team. Where's my cast and crew for Sense and Sensibility? School play just wrapped up on Monday. They did a fabulous job yet again. It was a terrific show. My wife loved it. And when my wife loves things, that means it was really good because she's not easy to please. Trust me, I've spent my whole life trying to. Happy wife. Good. I'm so glad that most of the boys know that already. That's a really good thing for you to learn. Happy wife, happy life. So great job by the drama tech crew, everything. Terrific job there. Is somebody's birthday? Who's got a birthday today? Justice. Here, happy birthday. There you go. See, the danger is I have a microphone I can move around here with now. This is kind of fun. You got a birthday there? Is it really your birthday? No? Okay. See me later if you want to tootsie roll for your birthday. Okay, so a couple of shout outs that I've got. Angel Platia. Did I say it right? I love students that have great ideas and share them. And Angel's had a terrific idea, and I'm not going to spoil it because hopefully we're going to be able to get to it and you'll all be able to partake in it later. But Angel had a fabulous idea, and she sought me out, shared the idea. That takes a lot of courage, a lot of planning and creativity on her part. So I just wanted to give her a shout out for having that great idea and sharing that. So thank you, Angel. Give her a hand. Good job. Another thing that I think it's a little thing, but it goes a really, really long way, is when you find something that you enjoy and you're passionate about, I think it's a really good thing to spend some time there and use it to do good for other people. And there's a student here that's really, really passionate about photography and doing a great job with it. You probably see him running around in here on Jet Time, taking pictures, taking videos and stuff. I wanted to give my man Eli Frisbee a shout out. Being really passionate about stuff is super important, and then finding a way that you can share that passion with other people and use it to benefit others is awesome. You're going to see a lot of his work in the yearbook. You see a lot of that stuff that he puts out there. Eli does a great job of sharing it in a positive way. And then I wanted to give a teacher shout out to Miss Hardy. Okay? She's the brains behind Skybound, and it's so hard to try to do all the little things to get something like that going. She puts in an immense amount of time, energy, and effort to try to help do that, build that up, and make that thing great. Plus she comes in here, works really hard, films this, and so I wanted to give her a shout out. So take a close up of that. Great job, Ms. Harper. Thank you. All right, and then my final shout out, I don't get to do this very often. I've been teaching for 15 years, and in 15 years of teaching, you learn that the people that are kind of higher up the food chain don't spend a lot of time talking with or listening to and associating with just the teachers down at the bottom of the bowl. But in education, you got like your teachers, and then there's the administration, and then there's the district, and then there's the superintendent who's kind of in charge. Do y'all know who's in charge of the superintendent? Kind of. It is actually the government because they're elected officials, but it's our school board. So the school board's like, I can't jump very high, but they're like way out there. And in 15 years of teaching, I've never really had the opportunity to associate much with a school board member because they're usually, they have their own jobs. They work really hard doing that, plus they're members of the school board on top of that. So it's pretty rare that you get a school board member that's willing to get involved right down here at the school level and get to know some of the teachers, get to know some of the students, and spend some time in that space. We are lucky enough at Cedar Valley to have a school board member that represents us at that level. And it's, just so you know, that's rare. This is not something that happens. And we have Miss Julie King that's here with us today. She's going to be doing part of our Jet Talk today, so I hope you'll listen to what she has to say because she's got a tremendous message. But she's taken time out of her busy schedule to come and be with us, and I wanted to give her a Little Things Award shout out because that's a huge deal, actually. It's a little thing that goes a long way. So if you could please welcome her up and give her a big hand. our school board member, Ms. Maria King.
Thanks, guys. I want to talk to you a little bit today about math to start out with. Oh, there are groans. No! So I'm going to tell you about what it is to be an actuary. So an actuary is a person who has a really interesting job. An actuary is a person who compiles and analyzes statistics and data and uses them to calculate insurance risks and premiums. They juggle numbers and information to make educated guesses. Basically, actuaries are gamblers. They gamble on life expectancies and risk assessments to help determine what price you get on your life insurance, based on whether or not you smoke or have high blood pressure, how many speeding tickets you get, and how much debt you're in. They look at all the numbers that make up a person and decide who is worth betting on. I am not someone they would have bet on. I grew up poor in Appalachia. Appalachia has long been plagued with poverty. Most people associate Appalachia with coal mining and minimal educational opportunities. I was raised by a single mother, and my father largely dropped out of my life. The likelihood that I would go to college was slim. The more likely scenario is that I would struggle to support my children, end up in poverty, end up on welfare, with a substantially decreased life expectancy. But I beat the actuary's predictions. I got married, I graduated from college, became a social worker, had 4 children, became a writer, was published, and was elected as a public official. Let me be clear, I am not that special. I don't have amazing musical abilities, and I did not get an athletic scholarship. But I decided that my beginnings would not define my ending. I decided I would write the chapters of my life instead of giving up the pen and allowing others to write my story. We all have a choice in life. We cannot always choose the circumstances we are in, especially when we face dynamics like poverty, addiction, and violence. But we can choose how we interpret those dynamics. Do we see challenges as stumbling blocks to thwart our path, or as stepping stones so that we can learn and grow and be the best version of ourselves? 4 months after I filed to run for school board, a common screening test revealed that I had a very rare and aggressive form of cancer. It is so rare that I am only the 17th person since 1968 to be diagnosed with it. No one in the state had ever seen it before. The actuary would have once again written me off, but I really like to defy statistics. So I found the #1 cancer center in the country, found the best surgeon, and was very aggressive in my treatment. 2 days after I won the election, I went in for a second surgery. Today, I am considered NED, which means no evidence of disease. I don't know how long I will keep this disease at bay, but I choose not to let my diagnosis define me. I am the author of my life. My diagnosis, that's only one chapter. It isn't the whole story. So don't let your challenges be your story. You are much more than your circumstances. There are no guarantees in life, but you do get to choose your attitude and whether you will be the victim or an author who writes your own story. As you wonder if the actuary would bet on you, would gamble on what you can become, please remember this. I am betting on you. Your teachers, your administrators, everyone here at Cedar Valley, we are betting on you. So go out and write your adventure. Thank you.
and I'll give you another one if you wait, or you can eat it now. When I come back, I'll give you another one, so then you'll have two. But stay in here and stay in the chair till I come back, okay? All right. I'm gonna go do something and then I'll come back.
It's yummy, yummy. This was really good.
It's up to you. You can have it now or you can wait. Okay? I'll be back. Stay in the chair, okay? Okay.
Don't do it, don't do it.
All right, so I'm gonna leave and then I'll come back, okay? So you can either eat it right now or you can wait. Either way, okay? Okay. How'd you do? Did you do good? You did? You wanted to eat it, didn't you? Yeah. So did I tell you to give you another one? Okay, I can have both. You need
Okay, who's seen that before? That's a pretty famous experiment. Any idea what the number of kids that actually refused to eat the marshmallow? 1/3. 2/3 of the kids ate the marshmallow. Now, you didn't necessarily see that in the video. There's actually some other really funny ones. There's a study they did in Colombia, and some of the video of those kids is like amazingly funny. Like there's this one girl that it's like she's just sniffing it and then rolling her eyes back in her head and freaking out. It's very, very entertaining. But 2/3 of the kids passed up on the second marshmallow to have the marshmallow right now. And why on earth would they even do that study? What were they trying to figure out? Well, they were trying to figure out what predicts success later in life. And so they were looking at these kids, and they did this as what's called a longitudinal study. That's a fancy way of saying it's a study that they track for a long period of time. And so the original group of kids, they checked back in with them after 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. And they were trying to figure out what are some of the ways we can predict who's going to end up being successful later in life. And through this test, they found that there was one key factor that predicts later in life success. And the kids that could pass up, that could wait on the marshmallow, they had 15 minutes where they had to sit there and stare at it and think about it. And then if they could wait 15 minutes, they got the second one. And when they waited the 15 minutes, they got the second marshmallow. And what they found was the kids that waited to get the second marshmallow were more successful later in life by like every different measure that they did. It didn't matter where they were from, if it was a boy or girl, it didn't matter what their race was, what their socioeconomic background was. But if they had the ability to wait for that second marshmallow, it was strongly correlated with their later in life success. And so it highlighted this idea, and so people started to realize that the most important skill for any of us to learn to predict success later in life is self-discipline. That ability to win those moments, like you saw that on the question that was up there on the screen. How do you win those moments? Because when do we have marshmallow moments? What are some of the marshmallow moments that you face? Like, give me some answers. What are some of the marshmallow moments that you guys face? John? The college decision. Where are you going to go to college if you're going to go to college? Those are decisions that you have to make. Tanner? Pardon? Yeah, what career? What career path do you want to try to follow? Those are pretty big ones. Okay, those are like giant marshmallows. You know those giant s'more marshmallows they give you? Okay, what are some other ones? What are some smaller decisions that you have to make? Go on. Be loud.
When you have to deal with the boss.
How to handle a tough boss. Your boss yells at you. Your marshmallow moment is, what do you do right then when he yells at you? What's the easy thing to do? Your boss yells at you. What's the easy thing to do? Cry, yell back, take it out on somebody else, come at him strong, maybe with the fists, throw hands with him. Okay? Those are a lot of options. Okay? Tough decision. How do you handle it when a boss comes at you strong? Maybe your parents come at you strong. Okay? Maybe they get on you. Maybe a teacher gets on you. Maybe your friend yells at you for something. Okay? Anybody ever had a disagreement with your friends? Okay, something goes bad there. So how do you prepare? Because these kids, they didn't know they were getting into this. They didn't prepare. How do you prepare to win those moments? Yes, you do. Okay? And you prepare by practicing and doing the little self-discipline things along the way. Does it take a lot of self-discipline to do the right thing when somebody's yelling at you? Yeah. Okay, your boss yells at you. Is it right for you to yell back? Is it right for you to hit him? Okay? Okay? So you've got to practice making those really good decisions. And one thing I love about what Julie shared with you is in her story, there were many, many moments where she had to make a choice. Because they weren't betting on her. The actuaries are like, hey, you're from Appalachia. Anybody know where that is, by the way? It's basically the redneck place like in Tennessee, okay? West Virginia, I think. Is that where you're from? West Virginia? Okay? And so, if you've ever been there, there's not a lot of money there. And so the actuaries look at that and say, well, you're from poverty, so you can't be successful. And that's a moment where you have to decide, am I going to listen to what they're saying, or am I going to keep working hard? What's the easy thing to do? Okay, take the easy way out. Listen to what they're saying. Oh, well, I'm from here. I can't be successful, so I'll just do this. The hard thing is realizing that they're wrong and then working as hard as you can to go the other direction. You have these moments all the time. And the better you get it. How many of you have had a huge decision that was really tough and you actually chose the hard, right thing to do? Raise your hand if you've been in that situation. You've made a hard choice, but it was the right choice. And if you're raising your hand, good for you, because you now have confidence that you can do the right thing. You now have confidence that you can make the hard decision when it's hard. And it's not easy to do some of those things. And so we believe in you guys. Like she said, we're betting on you. And we hope that you know you've got support, because it's not easy to make these hard decisions. It takes practice, and you have to work on it. You're going to mess it up, and that's okay. You get back up and you try again. So we're betting on you guys to develop that skill of self-discipline and really get good at waiting on your marshmallow. Because eating the marshmallow right now, that's great. But what if 20 years down the road, I can promise you that you'd be as successful as you wanted to be? That dream that you have of you being the most successful person you could be, what if I told you that all you had to do was wait to eat that marshmallow? Would you wait? I hope you would. Because if you can develop that skill of waiting and making those hard, right decisions, you're going to find a way to be successful. And we believe in you guys with that. What I want to do now while we've got her here is we have a little bit of time. I would love, if you have any questions for a school board member, this is an exceedingly rare opportunity. So if you have a question, we've got time for one or two questions. I would love to have you guys have the opportunity to ask our school board member while she's here, if you want to ask about the snow day. But just so you know, she fought so hard for us to not necessarily have to make it up like by showing up to school that day. Okay? She fought so hard for us to be able to have that whole entire spring break. And sometimes the decisions don't necessarily go your way, but I want you to know she's got your back out there and stuff like that. That's really cool. Tucker.
So, question concerning snow days. Since this year is a leap year, so we have February 29th, does that mean that we don't have to come at one day during spring break? Because that one day is made up on the 29th of February.
I love that you guys are throwing leap year out there. I have not heard that argument yet. Okay, so just so you guys are aware, there is a state law. Okay, so sometimes I have to do things because the federal government tells me to, sometimes because the state government tells me to. So one of the laws that we actually have on the books is that we have to have 180 days on the school calendar, 990 hours of instruction in a year. So part of the dynamic with the snow day is that we have 180 days in there, and because we lost that day from the snow day, we have to make it up. It's like legally what we're required to do. We did try and get a waiver from the state superintendent. Her name is Sid Dixon, and that waiver was denied. Another idea that I floated was for us to actually do an online day where no one actually had to show up in class, no teachers, no students. I'm not sure how much we're going to see if we can kind of convince the state to let us do that. But we're actually talking about throwing that in calendars like next year and the year after. So that if we do have to call a snow day, it would be something where you guys just do stuff at home. Your teachers just put something in either in Canvas or a Google Doc, and no one actually has to physically be in the school. So we are trying to come up with alternatives. But sorry, the leap year thing doesn't work.
One more. Leah.
Why don't you just put the extra day on the end of the school year? Because I mean, we don't do anything for the last 2 weeks of school.
Okay, that is shocking to me that you don't do anything. No, I'm just kidding. I have 4 kids in school. I totally don't have the last 2 weeks of schoolwork. So part of the dynamic with that is that when we survey parents, they want the school year to end before Memorial Day whenever we can make it happen. The other dynamic that gets really complicated is we have a teacher contract that we work out with our teachers. If we go one day into June on their teacher contract, it creates a whole mess of hurt, and it actually dings teachers in their financial compensation. So we do everything we can to make sure that we are not dinging any of our teachers. So, because we teachers, like, we got your backs.
Okay, we've got to get you off to class. Please give a big round. She is always available if you want to email, talk to her. Thank you so much for coming out, Julie. Have an amazing day. We believe you guys. We're betting on you.